Hello, welcome back to Third Degree Food. I am Sam Caterer and this is the Third Degree Kitchen. Tonight is Tuesday night, which means one thing, lasagna night. And I'm going to show you how to put together the most authentic, the most delicious lasagna you can put your lips around. We're going to start off with a few ingredients. There are more than normal. This is a bit of a complicated dish, but if you follow the method, you're going to get a fantastic result each and every time. We start off with our sofrito, which is the base of most ragus. You've got some grated carrot, which gives you the sweetness. We've got some celery, which gives you a bit of bitterness. And we've got some onion, which just levels it all out. It's a perfect base to every ragu. Then we're going to go in with a little bit of beef. We've got 500 grams of 12% fat beef. Now, the reason why I mention the fat content is because it's very, very important. 5% you're getting no flavour, 12 you're getting bang on flavour, any more it's a little bit greasy. So 12% is where you want to be for your lasagnas and also for your hamburgers. But yeah, you want 12%, 500 grams of organic beef on this one. We got some peppers, we got some beautiful chestnut mushrooms. We got one British large red chilli. We've got about 10 cloves of garlic because we want it to punch full of flavour. A couple of bay leaves. Bit of a stock cube as well. You want to get that beef just proper down there, nice low flavours in that beef. We've got some freshly chopped basil, coriander and parsley. We've got a tin of tomatoes. Now these are organic plum tomatoes. They are fantastic. I'm not going in with any passata. I don't want it to be too runny because we're using fresh egg pasta, which is, well, it's fresh, like I say, so it's not going to be all chalky and what have you when you cook it, so you don't need that extra moisture to moisten up your pasta. Then we're going to make our bechamel sauce. Now I'm going to show you a very quick and very easy way to get the results that you want without having to make a roux. Now obviously a roux is butter and flour, adding milk slowly as you go. So we're going to use corn flour today, which gives a nice thickening straight off the bat. 1 pint of milk, some delicious DOP mozzarella bufala, and we got some Gran Padano as well, which is going to add to the mix. And perhaps, if I feel like it, a little bit of cheddar later on. So, as you can see, I've pretty much prepared all the ingredients already. I'm just going to finish off this pepper for you. You want to have varying sizes because you want different bits of bite. Obviously, all the vegetables are washed already. I'll just take the bottom off that one. Chop over that. And then we're going to go in, just cut them into sort of wedge sizes. Like so. There's no rhyme or reason to the shape or size of your peppers. However you want to do it is all good. It all cooks down very nicely anyway. And then we're going to step over to our hob and start cooking our lasagna. Now, as everybody knows, or even if you don't know, it takes a good 4 hours to get the ragu that you want. However, there are methods you can take to increase the flavour as well, you know, by adding wine, giving that extra depth as well. So, you know, we're probably going to cook our ragu around the 3 hour mark today. So first and foremostly, we're going to go over to our hob, take some beautiful, delicious, organic, extra virgin olive oil and our sofrito, get it all started. So over to the hob, start on the heat, and we go in with about 3 tablespoons of our organic, extra virgin olive oil. Absolutely divine. Then we go in with our onions. You want to cook this quite slowly. Grab a spoon. Move that around. You need to do a lot of seasoning on this to get the good depth of flavour. There's a lot of ingredients and it cooks for a long time, so the longer it cooks, the better the flavour of your ragu. So we'll just start this off nicely. Remember, you can catch all our recipes on thirddegreefood.com. And if you wouldn't mind, give us a little like and subscribe as well. Hit that notification bell for future recipes, of course. And if you'd like to leave a little comment down below, every comment you make is very well received. And obviously, yeah, we do reply to each and every comment that is left. We're a very personable show. So we're into the onions. We just started those off. You can hear them sizzling, lovely. Now we don't want to cook these too fast, too hard. We want to just get it going. We're going to go in with our celery and in with our carrot. Now this gives such a beautiful base to our ragu. Tried and tested by the nonnas of deep south and deep north Italy. So You can't argue with that. So we're going to go in with some heat and just reduce that slightly to about half. There we go, just going to let that soften really nicely. Look at that, beautiful. The colours, vivid, fresh ingredients, you can't go wrong with that. Keep it moving, you don't want it to sit and catch. Just give them a nice little lick of that olive oil. And let this soften. So up until the ragu touches the pasta, this is pretty much a one pot dish. So you've got to give it a lot of love, a lot of attention, and you've got to make sure that all those flavours merge beautifully together. So there is a method behind this. So first of all, you go in with your sofrito. You get it nice and soft. You can hear it just cooking away nicely behind me. And then we go in with our beef because we don't want to take up too much room in the pan. We want to get this nicely browned off. And in order to do that, you've got to break it up into nice little chunks. Nothing worse than getting an unseasoned lump of beef in your ragu. So I'm going to take this over there, break it up. You'll see my hands working. And I'm going to add some salt and some pepper to the mix and get that really nice and seasoned. So over we come. Just hold the beef over the sofrito and break it up, little finger-sized chunks at a time. And this helps break down the beef. You can add pork, of course, if you wish, but today I'm just using beef. Just break it up into little chunks. This makes it easier to break down and obviously to get the seasoning all the way through your ragu. Take your time. There is no rush with lasagna. The more love you show it, the more flavour you get at the end. Breaking down nicely. Okay, in we go. Just wash my hands off. Okay, so now we need to season our beef. Plenty of salt, plenty of pepper. You want it to sing with flavour. In we go with a generous couple of pinches of salt. This will all cook down, all the flavours will augment. It's all going to be absolutely fantastic when you get to the end result. So we just bash this around a little bit. Stir it all in there, get it all nicely browned off in the mix. And now would be a good time to add your stock cube, because you want as much flavour coming through early on as possible. So we'll just grab our stock cube, give it a nice little crumble in the mix. And now we've turned our beef over, give it another light little seasoning over the top with the pepper, just to evenly season your ragu. A little pinch more salt. And we'll just mix that all around in there. Break up all those lumps. You've got to be quite vigorous with it early on to get the results you want at the end. There we go, look at this, absolutely divine. That is where you want to be with your ragu at this stage. Break up all those lumps, just make sure there's nothing sitting there under the carrots. There we go, it's nicely brown. Okay, we can give that a little bit of volume on the heat there. So now it's time to go in with our pepper element of the dish. Now, what we have here is some beautiful organic bell peppers. We've got the red, the green and the yellow, almost the colours of the Italian flag, if we take that down a tone or two. But yeah, over to the hob with our peppers. And we can just mash these in here, any order you wish. I think I lost one under there. Always keep a clean hob. Helps if you drop anything. Okay, we're going to mix these in here. Get them going. Now it doesn't matter really how these cook. If they reduce in the ragu, or they cook a little bit, they fry a little bit with the beef. So it's so versatile. It's so easy to make, to be honest. As is our ethos right here on Third Degree Food. Let's get this mixed in and nice, and they will soften beautifully. So we are pretty much halfway through our ragu. Let me take this opportunity to remind you, if you will, that we have a merchandise shop, shop.thirddegreefood.com. T-shirts, black and white, we've got aprons, trivets, oven gloves, caps, the lot. Pretty much you name it, we've got it on the store. So if you'd like to help support the channel, that'd be most appreciated, and thank you very much in advance. So right, we're going to get in next with a bit of spice. We're going to cut our chili. Try and keep our fingers out of the way. Just roughly chop, because it all dissolves and disappears into the ragu. Seeds and all, because you want a little bit of kick in there. That's it, just take the ends off. And what have you? You can go over there. Go in a little bit of chili. As you do. And then we're going to go in with some garlic. Now, we're going to squeeze all of our garlic tonight. We want it properly macerated into the ragu. So come over here, and we're going to literally just crush a good few cloves. We're not going to put it all in yet. We're going to save some for the end, because you want to keep the fresh garlic as well as the cooked garlic. Very nice, just get you in that. I think that'll do for now. We'll save 4 back for the end. This is coming together rather nicely. Now we're going to go in with a glass of red wine, a nice large glass of red wine, and we're going to add our tomatoes as well. In there with the wine. And give our tin of tomatoes a good shake. Just move that wine around the pan as well. Smells absolutely fantastic, and we've only just started. So we give our tomatoes a good shake. Okay, in we go with our plum tomatoes, and we want to wash our tin around just to get a little bit extra moisture, as we're not using a passata. Just fill up halfway there or thereabouts, give it a good swill. And there we have our liquid for our ragu. You don't want to do too much just now, because you don't want to splash it everywhere. Let those tomatoes just sit there. Break them up a little bit with a wooden spoon, but that will all come together later on. The more you stir it later, the more these Samazzana tomatoes just release. That is where you want to be at this stage. Just let it warm through. You want to get the heat coming through the wine and the tomatoes. Next up, we're going to add some herbs. We're going to add 2 bay leaves and a good handful of chopped basil, parsley and coriander. We're going to save some back for the end, just to deepen the flavour of the ragu. But for now, we're just going to put a little bit in along with our bay leaves. That'll do for now. Okay. Get these in there. This is a very healthy dish. Full of vitamins, iron, you name it, it's there. Great for a Tuesday night. Gets you ready for the rest of the week. This is bubbling away nicely. You want to turn it down just a little bit. You don't want to cook it too fast. It's got a long way to go. Now you can use the same recipe for your spaghetti bolognese as well. I know Vincenzo would be on me for saying that the wrong way. So it's not spaghetti bolognese. It may well be all over London and the rest of England. However, the true correct way of saying it is Bolognese. So out to you, Vincenzo, on this video for that one. Thank you very much. We're going to add our mushrooms now. These are just chestnut mushrooms washed and diced, you know, nothing too crazy. They don't have to be too fine. They'll shrink really nicely in the sauce, and they just add such a good depth of flavour that you cannot get from anything else. I wasn't a fan of mushrooms when I was growing up. I'm not too sure many people were. However, I now cannot make a ragu without these in them because it just gives it that flavour that it's like an umami almost. So we're going to put these into the ragu. And stir them down. It's all coming on rather nicely. Turn that heat right down on that now. There is just one more ingredient to add, and it's a real secret ingredient, family secrets if you will. You're not going to be told this by many chefs, but it is in the shape and form of the simple but absolutely incredibly delicious anchovy fillet. You add a couple of these to your dish and it gives it a depth of flavour that is just unsurpassed. Not many people, like I say, will tell you about this, but it adds a real bang for your buck to your ragu. Anyway, we're going to go over to the hob and we're going to add this to the mix. Just 3 or 4 fillets, like I say, into the mix. This is a great way of getting this kind of food into your kids. Vegetables, oily fish, the lot. So I highly recommend giving this one a go. Remember, our recipes are available from thirddegreefood.com. Fully downloadable from the links down below. And we're just going to let that sit there for about 3 hours, reducing really nicely on a very, very low heat. You see what I mean about the tomatoes? They've already dissolved into our sauce, and that gives such a beautiful, rich liquor. Look at this. That's exactly where you want to be. And it's only going to infuse even more. Those flavours are going to burst in this ragu. So we just get to the level where we bury all our vegetables. And we turn it right down. And that can sit there for 2 to 3 hours or until you're ready. Anyway, we're going to let that infuse and I'll see you very shortly. So, whilst our ragu is infusing and reducing on the hob, the next stage to our delicious lasagna is to make our bechamel sauce. Now you can make it the conventional way with flour, butter and adding milk a little bit at a time. But tonight I'm going to show you a very fail-safe, very simple way to make your bechamel sauce. It involves corn flour and milk and that is about it. Obviously plus your delicious mozzarella cheese. A little bit of cheddar. I like my lasagna to have a little bit of zing in the cheese area. So I like to add some really mature cheddar cheese. Not much, just a little bit to add that little bit of gratin on the top of the lasagna as well. It goes really nicely, especially with the softer parmigiano or the gran padano. This is like a more of a moister parmesan than sort of the dry crumbly parmesan. It just sits with the dish a little bit better. And then we've got 1 bay leaf which we're going to go in with. So first of all, what we need to do is pour in just under a pint of milk to our saucepan. Leave a little bit in there because we're going to add our corn flour to that. Okay, which is coming next. There's literally 1 tablespoon of corn flour in here. Come to the end of the pack, so I thought I might as well use it. Good opportunity. And then what we're going to do is just give this a little stir around in here. And as this cooks and gets warm, it will thicken our sauce beautifully. You can just let that sit there for a little while. Next, we're going to prepare our cheese. So first of all, we're going to cut our mozzarella because this is going to make a beautiful stringy bechamel. Doesn't have to be too precise, just little chunks. Just cut through it. It's a shame to destroy such a beautiful piece of cheese in this way, but it's just the flavour and the texture that you need for your lasagna. So that's about right. And then for the last part, we're going to grate our cheddar. As I say, I like a little bit of zing on my lasagna cheese sauce. So this is one of the best ways to implement that very simply. Just stir in the cheddar as your bechamel is cooking along with your mozzarella. Just grate that in there. Again, you don't have to be too precise, it's going to melt in the cheese, just willy-nilly as you will. Okay. And then we'll save the Gran Padano for later. That will just sit over the top as you put it into the oven. Okay, so we're going to move this over to the hob with our bay leaf. Just drop that in there. So we've added some pepper to our bechamel. I'm going to bring over our corn flour and milk mix. Just move the milk around in the pan. Just a little bit. Keep the heat on nice and low. Keep it moving. You don't want it to boil, you just want it to warm through. And then what we're going to do, we're going to add the milk to our corn flour and milk mix and then pour it back into the pan. This incorporates it really nicely. You can see the little bubbles appearing here on the top of the milk, which means that we're very nearly ready to incorporate our corn flour and milk mixture. That's pretty much where we want it. So we're going to add this to our corn flour. Leave it a couple of seconds and then return to the pan. That incorporates all the corn flour into the milk mixture. And keep moving this around now. It's going to thicken really nicely. Keep moving around the pan. Whilst that corn flour infuses with the milk, you'll see this start to stiffen up. Takes about 5 or 6 minutes or so. And there it happens. There we go. Now is nearly the time. We're going to add our mozzarella and our cheddar. It's thickening beautifully, look at that. It's a real little time-saving tip you just got from me. ThirdDegreeFood.com is your destination for all recipes. And of course, whilst you're online, give us a little like and subscribe as well. Smash that notification bell. We can turn that down now. We're now going to add our mozzarella and our cheddar cheese to the mix. It is about time. It's going to thicken up beautifully. Just put that over there. First of all, we're going on with our mozzarella and then we go in with our cheddar. It's going to melt into the sauce and thicken it deliciously. It's going to be an incredible bechamel to layer up our lasagna with. So we come over here, we go in with our mozzarella. This is going to dissolve in a matter of seconds. It's already gone. It's going to thicken up really nicely as it cooks through. And then we go in with our cheddar. This will all melt beautifully and solidify our bechamel. Which can just sit there nicely whilst our ragu infuses. It's coming together really nicely. Thickening up beautifully. And there we have it, look at this. And mozzarella doing its work. The sauce is nice and thick. Mission accomplished. So whilst we let our ragu just do its thing, infuse and just reduce on the hob, we can leave our bechamel sauce on the side, no problem at all, just sitting there until we're ready to put together our delicious lasagna. I'll be back in about an hour's time to arrange the lasagna. So we are ready. We are ready to assemble our lasagna. It's been on the hob for about 3 hours, there or thereabouts, and the ragu is looking incredible. All that remains for us to do is to add the final little touches, a little garnish of the chopped fresh herbs, and of course a little squeeze of the fresh garlic to give it that real nice depth of flavour when we assemble our lasagna. Anyway, so over to the hob. We're going to give a good little sprinkle of our fresh herbs, just to freshen up the sauce a little bit. And then we're going to take our garlic press. I'm going to squeeze 3 or 4 nice cloves of garlic into this, just before we start layering our delicious lasagna. Big flavours are needed for this. Okay, so stir that in just nicely. I've already given it a little taste. I know it's absolutely banging. And we can take this off the heat. As you can see with our bechamel, that mozzarella has thickened things really well. Very nice indeed. Okay, we are good to layer. So let's take this over to the side and we can start to arrange our lasagna. Okay, as mentioned before, we got some fresh egg pasta. This is absolutely divine. It's a game changer for your lasagnas. You need this in your life, 100%. I've cut it into strips already, taking the larger bits off the end so we can fill the gaps. First of all, what we're going to do, we need to get a spoon with a couple of slots in, just because we don't want to have a wet lasagna. I know we've reduced it quite a lot, as you can see, but we just want to avoid, if we can, any excess moisture going into our lasagna. So we'll take a little spoonful of the ragu and just place that on the bottom, just to smear it around it. We'll stop the lasagna sheets moving really nicely. So we're going to go in with our first sheet, just like so. And we just place another piece just there. So we're going with a nice spoon of our ragu, maybe 2. Slow and steady is the key with your lasagna. You don't want to over layer. There we go. And then we take a spoonful of our bechamel and we just layer that over the top. It's all about your layers. You don't have to be too equal because it will melt into the sauce. Beautifully thick. Look at that. See how that corn flour and milk mix just saves you about half an hour of stirring. As we do here on Third Degree Food, we try and save you as much time and effort as possible, but get delicious results in return. So just layer up a little more of our lasagna. Just snap these into place, just covering any little gaps that we may have. Just down the side, we can move it around. Then we go with another nice spoon of our ragu. Avoid that bay leaf, you don't want that in here. And we just push that around with the back of the spoon to all the corners of the dish. Look at this, delicious. This is going to be absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to get this on a plate and in my belly. So there we go, the next one. Just gently press them down. Get another slice of the lasagna sheets. Just fill all the areas. You can just tear them. You know, just stop the ragu leaking through. And then we're going to come in with one more layer. And then another layer of the bechamel. Didn't do the middle. Not necessary. It's going to be covered from the top down with the bechamel sauce. There'll be plenty to go around, rest assured. last little bit there. We've got a little bit of bay leaf there we want to take out. Just open it up a little bit. And just plonk you on the top. Create your own barrier there. This is where we want to be. Let's move that out of the way. A little bit more bechamel on this layer. That mozzarella's working wonders. Okay, just spin that over nice and liberally over there. Then we come over the top, our last layer of lasagna sheet. Probably push you there. And we need quite a thick bit, so tear it down. Just there like so. And then this piece down the length. Now we're going to cover the whole top of this lasagna with the remaining bechamel. Let's remove this bay leaf, I think, first before we do that. Some people cook with them in. It's much easier. So you're going to cover this in a lovely layer of the bechamel, creating an airtight seal around the side. Just push you in down there. There we have our delicious lasagna. It's going to go in the oven now for about half an hour. It is a bit of a process, but it's definitely worth it. Let's get these out of the way. And there's one more thing to do to finish off our lasagna. We need to add our Gran Padano over the top. This will gratin really nicely in the oven. The oven's at 200 degrees. I'm going to turn it down to 190 because you don't want to overcook your lasagna and brown it too much. Incredible. Let's finish it off nicely. You want a little spoon of paprika to add a little bit of colour over the top. Maybe just a tad more. And we finish off with a little bit of black pepper. So we're going to pop our lasagna into the oven for around about half an hour there or thereabouts until it looks ready, because it's edible now, pretty much, apart from the pasta sheets. And then we're going to serve it up, take a nice bite and show you how delicious it is. Anyway, to the oven we go. Just turn that down to 190. Set the timer for 30 minutes. And we'll see you very shortly. As you can hear, our lasagna is ready. It is the moment of truth and the time to sample the lasagna of our labours. Let's get it out of the oven and have a look at how beautifully gratin it is. It has spilled over the sides a bit, I'm not going to lie, it's not the most tidy dish, but that is the beauty of lasagna. Rustic Lasagne Al Forno. Let's get this out of the oven just here. Oh my goodness, look at this. That is exactly what you want from your lasagna. So it's time to get into our delicious lasagna. Look at that beautiful gratination on the top. Absolutely divine. Now the way to get into this, you've got to cut yourself around the sides, separate the lasagna from the dish. First of all, oh man, that's delicious, perfect. That bechamel is set. So we just freed up the sides very nicely. And then we're going to come I think we can go from here down the middle would be the best option. And then back through this way. It's exactly what you want. I'm going to take an edge piece. I think I might get this one because it's got more gratination on it, plenty more caramelized flavour. Look at that, that's absolutely divine, that's perfect. That's exactly what you want from your lasagna. Look at those layers, it's absolutely perfect. Plonk it on the plate. Now you can enjoy this with a bit of salad, with quite a rich mustard vinaigrette, or a bit of bread with some butter. I prefer just to tuck in as it is. Let's get into it, shall we? Oh, beautifully crisp on the top. It's going to be quite warm. Oh my goodness. That rich, mature bechamel sauce, the gorgeous ragu. It is the perfect lasagna. A little bit more taste of that in there. It's like a hug on a plate. It's absolutely delicious. Now, if you excuse me, grab myself a little glass of Malbec, and I'm going to go enjoy my beautiful Lasagne Al Forno. Buon appetito. Cheers.